Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sports Kings NFL Championship Prediction Show right here on YouTube. I am your host, Mean Gene, the Sports Machine. And look, I tell you what, you can tell which one of us was not in the military, okay? Because as you know, in the military, we do everything promptly, okay? Get up at 6 a.m., go to bed at 10 p.m. Jacob and Dustin were not in the military, so me and Gene's always here on time. But okay, I'm just giving these guys a hard time. Okay, Jacob threw Dustin under the bus, so now I'm throwing
You know,
both of
you
these
know.
guys under the bus.
Listen. When you got a family and you got an 8-year-old, I've got a little bit more excuses than some of y'all. Come on now.
All right, all right, okay. So,
Jacob has zero
I was
and,
on
excuses.
and
time. Okay, I was early. All
well,
right.
yeah, and he was. And look, okay, and Dustin, folks, if you could just hear some of the comments before we come on the air, it's hilarious. So look. Dustin reminded Jacob that we're putting a back to back. We did an NBA show last night.
Yeah, no load management here. We're
Yeah,
we're ready to go.
that's right. We ready to go. All right, guys. Whoo, man. All right. You know what? I just realized we don't have a banner telling people what the hell's going on here.
Listen, I was kind of
There
tired
we go.
after a long week, Gene, but Jacob's got me fired up. I might make a viral clip tonight. We might have one of our best shorts ever because Jacob's got me a little fired up right now.
Oh, you
Everybody loves your
guys.
viral clips. We have to
Yeah.
apologize to somebody
Look,
because it's a bad take.
Hey,
hey, you guys.
first of all, I have never had somebody say that I'm smoking weed on the show like they did to you, Jacob. So that's all. That's all.
Oh yeah, Jacob. Yeah, Jacob. And you know what? And that kind of, I talked to HR and said, look, because that caller said that, should we piss test Jacob?
Yeah.
They said we'll wait. If we get one more complaint, we're gonna call him in there.
I fire the people up. That's what I do. It's why I'm here.
You fire him up.
I like it. I like it.
All right, guys, look here. This is where we are. We started this back in August with our prediction show of every conference, you name it, everything. Okay, we are the prognosticators. Okay, that's what we do. We predict stuff. But I can guarantee you one thing: we did not predict. We did not predict that Sam Darnold, uh, Jason Stidham, Drake May would be in the NFL championships game here for the right to go to the Super Bowl. I think we kind of missed that, right?
Yeah, I don't think that was on the bingo card, but
Nope.
listen, we did have some of the teams though. I know y'all were high on the
Yeah,
Broncos for
yeah.
most of the year. I've had the Rams as my Super Bowl pick from day one. Y'all been high on Seattle. We kind of saw New England trending in the right direction. So there are some surprises. No Patrick Mahomes. None of these teams that have been in here for a while. Eagles out. So definitely some new teams trying to get back to the Super Bowl. Well, we say new teams, but it's crazy that New England is right back in this spot again after just a few years off, right?
Yeah, Jacob, what do you think about that?
Hashtag Mike Vrabel, baby, coach of the year. Been singing that tune for a couple of weeks, but no, it is crazy how fast that turnaround happened for New England. They were nobodies last year. Now, it looks like they're back to the Tom Brady relevance that we all loved and hated so much for 100 years. So, I mean, props to them. But I didn't expect the turnaround as fast as it came.
No, I didn't either. Look, guys.
And remember when Gene said that Matt Stafford was basically on his deathbed with the back injury, and now Matt Stafford is the MVP of the league?
Wait a minute now. We all agreed that he was playing possum, okay? Because he didn't practice. Let's see what Dustin does to me. We all agreed that the guy was playing possum. He didn't play no preseason games,
That's
right?
true. No practice.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. But look, guys, how about this? For the first time in 14 seasons since 2011, and the 11th time since 1970, neither one of you guys were born, right? 4 new teams are in the conference championships compared to the previous season.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So this is crazy. So look, on Sunday, New England would travel to Denver for the AFC Championship Game, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, CBS, and the Los Angeles Rams will visit Seattle, a familiar place, for the NFC Championship Game, and that's 6:30 on Fox. Tell you what, we got 2. I take that back. So we got the top 3 scoring offenses in the NFL. We got the Rams, the Patriots, and Seattle, and then we got 3 of the top 4 scoring defenses: Seattle, Denver, and New England from the regular season. So I mean, it all adds up in the end, right?
Yeah, it all adds up. It kind of balances itself out. These teams, and again, because they're different teams in the championship, we're saying, were we surprised they ended up here? But if you look at the regular season, these 4 teams were near the top of their conferences for most of the season. So it wasn't just like they came out of nowhere. Were they there last year? No, but they started the season off near the top. The Rams were the 1 seed for a while. Then Seattle took it over. Denver and New England went back and forth for that 1 seed all year in the AFC. So those teams definitely deserve to be here. We'll obviously get into it more. It sucks. I wasn't a Denver Broncos fan all year, but it sucks that they have to go to the championship game without Bo Nix. And then quarterbacks, like you said, that we've talked about all season long. Sam Darnold. He's been a great regular season quarterback. Can he get him over the hump? We talked about Bo Nix, Drake May being one of the next big up and coming guys, Matt Stafford, the old vet MVP. There's just so many storylines to go around with these teams.
Go ahead, Jacob.
Oh, I mean, I really don't have anything to add to that. It does appear like this is one of those years where you don't have any sort of a Cinderella, right? Like Houston technically would have been a Cinderella after how bad that offense has been all year, which if you look at the numbers, it actually wasn't that bad. So, we just suck. But it's one of those things where, I mean, all of these teams, they were at the peak of their divisions. They were very good throughout the year. Like Dustin said, the Patriots took the lead in their division. They held it all year, right? I mean, there was a point where the Bills crept up on them a little bit. It was never actually it was never a worry for them. They led that division, and then Seattle stole it from the Rams, but Rams held that number 1 for a while, and it was never a point where Seattle was far back, right? Like Seattle was knocking on the door that entire time, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a lot of teams that not only deserve to be here because of their regular season prowess, but they deserve to be here because, 5 weeks into the season, you could say, hey, these guys are good. They're playing great ball already. It wouldn't surprise me if they made a run in the postseason. And that's it. It goes for every team here. And again, to what Dustin said, it's a bummer that Bojangles Nixon got hurt because the Broncos have looked the part all year, and now we're going to get a look in at Stiddy City and see if Stidham can lead them to the promised land, which is
hold on. I just got to ask a question, Gene.
What?
Does Jacob sit around all night and just think of nicknames for every single quarterback in the NFL?
No, he comes up with some pretty good ones. I have to admit now, he has come up with some good ones.
I mean, I like the Bojangles because that's here in my city. We're kind of known for the Bojangles being the home here. And then you go Stiddy City. I didn't know where that came from.
I mean, that's good. I like it. And look, we have to make this guy irrelevant because, look, man, and that's good. No one was thinking of Jarrett Stidham until, a week ago. Okay.
And going against his old team.
And going against his old team, he started with 4 career games and now can become the first quarterback ever to start a conference championship game with okay.
Call a timeout.
Bojangles.
Call it a timeout. First of all, Uncle G's in the house again. Second of all, there is some guy named Wayne Brown.
Shout out
here
Wayne
in
Brown,
the chat.
baby.
Whoa.
Gene, you know a guy named Wayne Brown?
I want to know why Wayne is in the chat room. Instead of on this screen with us.
You know what I'm saying? Hop on in here,
Wayne Brown. Yeah, Wayne, we got to call you out. But look, we got to call Bobby out too. Because look, Uncle G and Bobby, hey, they pulling back-to-backs too. So there's no load management with our listeners.
You don't hear them complaining, Dustin.
And Jacob's got Wayne Brown using Bojangles Nix in his comment. How about that?
Hey, Wayne, well, look, we definitely got to acknowledge Wayne because he's one of
downtown, my guy.
Downtown, look. So Wayne is saying Patriots had a favorable schedule. I'm wondering if it will benefit them going into this game, even without Bojangles mixed up. Hey, look, Wayne, we're gonna talk about this in a minute. We're gonna do like TV. We're gonna tease. We're not gonna make our picks until a little bit late, but hopefully Wayne will stay on and we can get this pick. So for our listeners out there and people watching live here. Downtown Wayne Brown has been rolling with us for a long time. Dustin finally got a chance to meet Downtown when we were in Vegas. Me and Wayne, we covered our first Super Bowl back in, good Lord, about 24 years ago. Who was that? Raiders and and the Buccaneers. But man, this guy's been around for a long time, Wayne. Good to see you in there. But look here, guys. I was just gonna say that Stidham. I mean, look, he hasn't he started 4 career games. So I mean, man, that's not a good thing. But the one thing I like about the Broncos being at home in this game is that defense, guys. We talked about this defense. Sean Payton is, whether you like him or not, Sean Payton. Sean Payton is Sean Payton. If anybody's going to have a team ready to go on Sunday in the situations, next man up. Look, for everybody else fans, oh, God, who is this scrub starting at quarterback? This is where heroes are born. So we'll let you know our picks on this. But I think we got 2 exciting games here, knowing how the Patriots look. The Patriots are lucky to be in the AFC Championship game because Drake May played like crap last week. The only thing was worse was C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and Jacob we're obviously gonna talk about this for a minute, but there's two teams kicking themselves really, and it's Houston that we'll talk about, and it's Buffalo because Buffalo had a chance to win that game. Josh Allen missed some throws, had some fumbles, and if they could have won that game, they're sitting there in the AFC Championship and taking out the Broncos. And then on the flip side, the Houston Texans, if they win that game, then all of a sudden the best defense in the league goes up against a backup quarterback who started 4 career games. I mean, I know, Jacob, you hear that and it probably eats at you still because it just shows you how big of an opportunity that was. But yeah, there's probably Josh Allen. They got rid of Sean McDermott. We'll talk about that. But the Bills and the Houston Texans got to be at home kicking themselves for sure.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Out of all the teams, those are the 2. The Bills definitely. The Bills should have traded for a wide receiver at the deadline. They could have still added Brandon Cooks, but they should have traded for a receiver. And I'm excited to talk about the McDermott thing because all the stuff that came out about Keon Coleman, which was ludicrous.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh,
but
we talk about that.
The Bills should have been here. Like they did. They did this to themselves. They deserve what they got. It was sad seeing Josh Allen cry at the podium. Then they go into the locker room. They talk to Deion Dawkins. He's crying, right? He's like, it's not Josh Allen's fault. At the end of the day, it wasn't, right? And that pick at the end of the game was not a bad call, right? I do believe that was an interception. I think that it was a crazy thing that happened. It was a fumble before it was I think it was a fumble recovery that was called an interception. But the Bills absolutely should be here. And then on the flip side of the Texans, as much as I joke about Money Mills deserving the MVP, you take Stroud out, who's turning the ball over like crazy. You can see something was wrong with him. And it looks like there is some sort of an injury or something that was not disclosed. I'm hoping right at this point. But it does look like there was something hampering his play more than what was let on. And if they would have put Money Mills in, who is by no extent of the imagination a great quarterback, but what he is a game manager who takes care of the football now in his career. And I think Houston probably actually wins that game. However, the conundrum created by that situation, right, is if you bench CJ for Mills wins the game.
Yeah, you got a problem. Yeah.
Mentally, right, CJ Stroud has now lost his job. Like it could cripple CJ Stroud down the road because Money Mills had to be brought in because, I suck. Right. And so it's almost as if Houston were cementing the idea that we're now going to trade CJ Stroud and we are going to run with a different quarterback, or we're going to run with Davis Mills, baby. And you can't just bench your cornerstone quarterback in the middle of a playoff game because he's playing poorly. So we died by the sword, right? Died by CJ Stroud. But I do believe that if Money Mills came in and just turned the ball over 0 times, Houston's defense wins that game.
Well, Gene, you're steering this ship. So can we stay on these 2 teams for a minute, or where were you wanting to go with these recaps?
No. We can stay on this. As a matter of fact, guys, I just sent downtown Wayne Brown the link. Hopefully he can come in.
I want to go back on something Jacob said real quick.
Yeah.
I want to get your thoughts on this, Gene. Let's start with the Bills, and we'll go to the Texans in a second.
Mm-hmm.
The Buffalo Bills, and this is coming from a guy who is probably one of the biggest. I mean, how can you not be a Josh Allen fan? He's probably one of the. He could be the best quarterback in the league. Let's just be honest. Yeah. And every postseason that they've been eliminated where they haven't gotten over the hump, I don't think has really been his fault. Okay, nope. You talk about the 13 seconds in the Kansas City game. You talk about games where he was big last year and they came up short. I don't think it's his fault. And people get mad because Lamar gets a lot of blame when the Ravens go out. So, Gene, this is the first time I'm going to say, and I want to get your thoughts as well. Jacob said it wasn't Josh Allen's fault. I think that this was Josh Allen's fault. And I say that he had him in the game. But if you're going to be Superman and be the best quarterback in the league, you can't turn the ball over 5 times, whether it's fumbles, whether it's an interception. We can argue if it's a catch or not. He missed Knox on a wide open throw in overtime that probably would have won the game. Like, if you're the guy at some point, if you don't get over the hump, you're going to take some heat. And I really have never given him any playoff heat because he's performed. But I think in this game, you just talked about CJ Stroud, if he doesn't turn the ball over and he's the best quarterback in the league, the Bills win that game. So he has to take a lot of heat.
Yeah, I'm gonna say for this particular game, Jacob, I agree, because look, I think we said last week, man, we said come on here. And I know Sean McDermott, what he had, that was going to happen regardless. They lose the game, he was going to be fired. We've talked about that as well, because we talk about the window of opportunity. We say that so much, and it applies to a lot of different teams. Yeah. But if you're Josh Allen, you know you don't have to go through Patrick Mahomes. You know you don't have to go through Joe Burrow. You know you don't have to go through Lamar Jackson. You personally have to take this game over, and he was the last person that I would figure would just screw up and have these turnovers, because he's the most experienced quarterback we got now as far as the AFC goes. He should know better.
And that's not to say that he didn't need more help receiver-wise, like you said, Jacob, and need more help on the offense. Obviously, they were relying on Brandon Cooks, who was barely on the team. Keon Coleman, we're going to talk about him. He was barely active for a lot of the games. So I'm not saying he didn't need more help, but there was just the play at the end of the half when he fumbles the ball and gives up a field goal to Denver. That was a huge swing in the game. And again, he's just got to be better at taking care of the ball in those situations.
I can't argue with that, right? And it's not so much that I think that Josh Allen is escaping the blame, right? I don't think that is necessarily the path that I'm taking. My blame falls exclusively on the administration, right? It is on the team. It is on Brandon Beane's team building.
Who just got promoted.
Yeah.
And it's on Sean McDermott's ability to use his players to the best ability, or to their best ability, right? Josh Allen had the worst supporting cast in the playoffs, and he got them to where he did. They are not good skills player wise. James Cook is good, but he didn't do dog shit against Denver, right? Like, it's not like James Cook blew the top off. He's not the reason they won. And admittedly, right, Denver's got a great rushing defense. They have all year, and it showed, right? Like, but that's the thing, when you're the best, right? James Cook's the number one running back in the NFL this year. When you're the best, be the best. And he most certainly did not play any better than anybody else did against Denver. It all fell on Josh Allen's shoulders. Josh Allen was under pressure all game. Again, something Denver's defense has been good at all year. They have the highest pressure rate on quarterbacks in the NFL this year. However, if you are the best, James Cook, be the best. And Josh Allen is under fire on every single play. He did miss throws. There's not another quarterback in the league that is going to be more accurate percentage-wise than Josh Allen was in that situation. So I'm not blaming anybody on the team in general, right? Could the defense have allowed those points? Sure, but they were supposed to suck, right? Like, you look at their defense at the beginning of the year, they were never supposed to be good anyways. They exceeded expectations. The problem to me lies on the administration, where they did not create a team to win that game.
If they exceeded expectations, Gene, then do you agree with Sean McDermott being fired?
Yes.
You just said he exceeded expectations.
No.
I said the defense exceeded expectations.
That depends on, I don't know. Yeah, he deserved to be fired because, man, just like I said about Josh Allen knowing what was up against him, Sean McDermott is going to have to take a lot of responsibility because, man, you have to get them over the hump. I know you're not supposed to fast forward and look ahead, but, man, in this particular case, I know they realized that they didn't have Patrick Mahomes to go through and Lamar and all those guys. You have to get it done. You have to get it done. So, look, 7 years, I mean, it's crazy. You win the division 7, straight times now. And now you may not even do that anymore with Mike Vrabel and these Patriots, right? So
I don't disagree with either one of you that it was probably time to move on, that he didn't even get them to a Super Bowl in this 7 years. My biggest point is looking at the coaching market. Besides Mike Tomlin, who we all agree is not going to coach this year, there's not a better option out there for them to hire right now than Sean McDermott.
Brian effing Daboll, baby, he's coming back.
Brian Daboll is a good coach. He's not an
Not a good
upgrade
head
to Sean
coach.
McDermott. And
No.
Gene, if I'm being honest with you right now, if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers and you're looking for a stable coach, I'm calling Sean McDermott right now and I'm making him my head coach.
And you saw that the fans have a petition to bring Sean McDermott back, right? Like there's a whole fan petition for that.
And
Just
that's my only point. Is it time to move on after 7 years because he didn't make a Super Bowl? Probably, because when you have the best with Mahomes, the best QB in the league, you probably should at least get to the big game. So I get that. But if you're going to fire a guy like that who has you at the top every year and with a chance, you better have an upgrade coming in. And I'm sorry, Mike McDaniels, not an upgrade. Brian Daboll, I like Brian Daboll, not an upgrade. Yeah. Name another assistant, not an upgrade over Sean McDermott.
I like Daboll because of the continuity there. I mean,
I'd rather just hire Joe Brady then.
Well, you can. I mean, well, you're probably going to keep Joe Brady, but I still think because Daboll has been a coach, I like that. But look, going back to what you just said about McDermott and Pittsburgh, look, McDermott has had the luxury of having a Josh Allen quarterback. He's not going to take that Pittsburgh job. There is no quarterback in Pittsburgh, okay? Because Aaron Rodgers probably is not going to be there. I don't think that's going to be a good job for him.
It's better than the Raiders and the Cardinals and some of these other jobs, though.
Well, I mean,
the Cardinals. I don't think it's better than the Raiders.
I would be careful to say that about the Raiders because you got a team that's sitting on $100 million.
Shout out Bobby.
They got $100 million in cap space. They don't have to draft
Bobby and downtown Wayne Brown, Raiders fans, right?
But
I'm sorry to say this, Gene. Have the Raiders ever spent $100 million good?
Well, I don't know if they had $100 million to spend. I mean, this is a unique situation.
Okay,
they could get free agents. They don't have to get Fernando Mendoza. I mean, it might be wise, but when you got $100 million in cap space, you can pretty much do whatever you want to do. We're going to talk about that as we get closer to the NFL draft, though. But go ahead, Jacob.
Well, continue your thoughts. I'm going back to the McDermott thing before we move it forward.
Yeah, because we'll switch to the Texans here.
Well, I did want to talk about the Texans, okay? Because Jacob, I'll let you have the bulk of this conversation.
Yeah, finish up on McDermott, Jacob, and let's go to the Texans.
Go ahead.
Okay, so with McDermott, it's a consistency thing, right? This is my last little thought on this entire firing, right? So you go back to Detroit prior to Motor City Dan Campbell taking over, right? Jim Schwartz is a good coach in Detroit. Jim Schwartz gives them a level of consistency and a winning culture that they had not had for years before that. Jim Schwartz goes 9-7, gets canned. It's not good enough. We need somebody to take us over the hump, right? Jim Schwartz is out. Then you go back to Cincinnati, right? Marvin Lewis there's a statue of him with the word consistency next to it because that man went 9-7, 46 seasons in a row, and he gets fired. They bring in somebody else, right? So with this whole thing with McDermott, he got to the same point every year, give or take. There's one game in either direction, but he makes it to the playoffs every year, and there's never anything that puts him over, right? It's one of those things where it's not about replacing him with somebody better per se. It's about taking a shot in the dark to see if lightning will strike and you can eclipse that point that you've been able to get to, because it does appear that is all he's capable of in Buffalo.
My last comment to that would be, and I know everybody wants to say he had Josh Allen, but hopefully lightning does strike twice, because let's be careful, Gene. The Bills were in a pretty bad place before Sean McDermott took over. They weren't a good football team. So let's not act like he didn't come in and turn that culture around.
He did, and he did, and that's why he's gonna. He should have the luxury.
He should have a job. Yeah,
he will have a job, and he should have the luxury of picking, and choosing wisely. And I guarantee he's gonna start with a good quarterback.
Now let's go to those Houston Texans.
Whoop, whoop.
All right, look, the Texans, Jacob, and I'm gonna pass this on to you. I've never seen a divisional game that was so
crazy,
boring in a sense, boring with the turnovers, sloppy play on both sides. But for a team, and I know we give Mike Vrabel a lot of credit, and they have done well. But that New England team, if that New England team shows up in Denver, even with a Jason Stidham, they're gonna get their asses whipped. Okay,
yeah.
They play like they did on Sunday. But on the other hand, CJ Stroud, I mean, he took the blame for that. This all fell on him. That game was still winnable late. I mean, they still could have won that game. So CJ Stroud, I don't know. And Jacob, look, we're gonna have a long conversation about CJ Stroud because it's not this year
Yeah,
that
I'm
they
gonna
have the
have.
option. It's next year.
Next.
So he gets to play a whole 17 games, but it ain't the 17 games that the Texans are gonna be worried about. If they make the
Yeah.
playoffs, they're gonna be worried about. I mean, does this guy deserve big money? And man, he did not help himself.
Well, let me throw more thoughts to Jacob real quick, so we can get it all in one. I
Feed
agree
me.
with what Gene just said there. First of all, I didn't think it was boring. It was more me sitting back to both quarterbacks going, what the hell are you doing? Like,
I
you're
know.
handing that, whether it's Drake May fumbling it, the interceptions that CJ Stroud threw. And I guess the only question I was going to ask you, Jacob, as a Texans fan, and it's almost going your situation is almost kind of getting like Bryce Young in Carolina. It's like we're going to pick up the 5th-year option. We like him as our quarterback. We think he's the future, but we're not there yet to give him that $50 million a year type quarterback deal. So that's my question to you is after that game, and we do have to point out no Nico, no Schultz, a lot of banged up injuries. So I do want to point that out.
Right.
But did that game in the back of your mind, did it slightly question if CJ Stroud is the quarterback of the future?
All right, that was a good question. I am going to address it second. So this is a two-pronged deal, right, with the Texans. So it's not so much that it was a boring game. I do agree with you there, Dustin. I do think that the weather had more to do with it than anything else. New England's at home. That weather was so bad that they had no idea what to do. There were a couple of bang plays. Ramondre Stevenson had probably the best one all game. But that was it. It was miserable playing conditions, which sucks for both teams. Houston sucks in the cold. That showed more in that game than almost ever before, if you ask me. It's close, right? Some of those Kansas City matchups might be a little worse, but that was bad. But I do think that the weather impacted that game more than anything else. Anything. There is no other variable that you could bring up that I think impacted that game more than the weather. And it's not just because it was cold. It's because it was blisteringly cold. There was precipitation. The wind was ripping. Like it was not a favorable setup for a football game in general.
Mhm.
All right. That's one.
That sounds a little bit like excuses, Jacob. I'm sorry.
It is an excuse, but also it affected both teams. They both played bad. It's not like New England came out and they're like, oh yeah, they came out with their shirts off and then they beat the Texans' ass by 60. That didn't happen, right? It's not like they're like, oh yeah, beating their chest like we do this. They don't. They don't do that, and they also look terrible. And then to answer your question about CJ, so what that game did for me as a Texans fan, as somebody who I do feel like I'm very good at being unbiased, right? I did not pick the Texans to win that game.
You did.
I do think that of all things, I have a pretty good handle on the direction that they're going in terms of a sports fan, in terms of a sports bettor, things of that nature. I think that CJ Stroud played himself out of his 5th-year option. I think that is all that did.
Oh, we're not going that far.
Well, no. So hear this out, right? So it's going to be more of a Jordan Love situation. I think that game and this season, for the most part, right, the bulk of it, there were some good games in there, but I don't know if Houston gives him the 5th year. And I know D'Amico sings his praises. It's one of those things where this is truly just speculation, but why give him the 5th-year option unless he asks for it and it just balls next year? I think what ends up happening is they decline his 5th-year option and they give him like a 3 to 5 year deal, probably 4 to 6, to be honest. But they give him.
He doesn't want that.
Do what?
What if he doesn't want that? What if he wants to get that 5th year to try to play for a bigger deal?
For a bigger deal, yeah.
You should have played better this year then. Okay, well, that'll be the one thing that we see.
I just think that they're going to do the same route as the Bryce Young. They're going to pick up the 5th-year option because it's still the cheapest route. It's still the easiest way to build around a quarterback because the 5th-year option is still that rookie deal. Sure. And then I kind of feel like it's the exact same situation. The Panthers love Bryce Young. They think he could be the future, but it's still too inconsistent. And so they're not going to give that deal they're going to play this 5th year and they're going to say, hey, we love what we're doing. You got us to the playoffs this year, but now you need to prove that you can do this game in and game out, and then we'll give you that big contract.
And CJ might get more leverage on that because he slightly outperformed Bryce to a certain point. I mean, it's funny we talking about these two guys again who we talked about a few years ago. But
it's crazy that they're this close now, considering after the first year we thought CJ would be a top 3 quarterback in the league.
Yeah, and what a drop off. But look, he gets 17 games to prove himself before. And look, we're talking because the Texans really got to think about this. They, quarterbacks are going between 50 and 70 million now, right? Yep. So he'll probably fall on that low end. It just depends on what the dynamics of the deals are. So, all right, guys, we got to move it.
Hold on, real quick. And I'm thinking about this. Like Dan Orlovsky said, it's a crazy statement that he made that 31. Any other quarterback in the league would have won that game on Sunday other than C.J. Stroud because of how good Houston's defense played. And I think we have to take that into account that C.J., like you said it, Jacob, like you're playing with the best defense in the league. Yep. Bryce Young didn't have that. These other quarterbacks don't have that. Like Josh Allen didn't have that. Like you can't waste a performance like that defense had this season.
That's exactly right. It was, and it's a wasted season. This is it. You never know what next year will bring, but I don't think Houston will ever see a defense as impactful or consistently good as what we had this year. We rode lightning. That's what it was.
It could get
Houston's
better,
defense rode the lightning, and it was wasted because our offense couldn't keep the ball on our offense's side of the field.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to get better. That defense is going to be the defense because that's D'Amico. That's what he specializes in. That defense is, I think, it's going to get better. And they could be like a Baltimore Ravens team from way back in the day when they had a Trent Dilfer who was just Trent Dilfer, right? And
that's
the Baltimore Ravens.
CJ's pulling too. He's Trent Dilfer. That's
what he's pretty much playing, like a Trent Dilfer, maybe a little bit worse than that game. Okay, how about the NFC side of things?
We can keep it moving with one game.
And the Rams. The Bears and the Rams. Let me tell you, folks.
Great game.
That game right there was awesome. Okay. Rams win 20 to 17 in overtime. That, you know what, they could have just screwed up our entire picks, or at least my brackets, as far as you get the Bills and Rams both out of the playoffs would have been a disaster. But man, they get it done. I don't know if the Bears won the game or if the Rams lost it. Jacob, what do you think?
That's a tough one. It sucked for Ben Johnson. I'll say that. I had the Bears pick to win that game. I believed in the Bears to win that game. It is unfortunate that they lost. But it's his first year as a head coach, right? Caleb made me a believer this year. It is unfortunate the way that it ended. I would have loved the Bears to progress, but quite frankly, their defense was too porous the last 6-7 games of the year, right? So I do believe that was a large contributing factor, and I get the Rams are great, right? Their offense is prolific. The Bears defense could have been better, and I don't know if it was the schemes
the
used.
Bears
they only gave up 20, Jacob.
Yeah,
they
were
almost in the NFC Championship game. I meant the Bears, and I might have said that backwards earlier, but anyway, the Bears should have won that game. I mean, Caleb, we saw something. I mean, look, even in the loss, I think the Bears fans saw something that where the future looks bright, because some of the one throw that he made in that game was unfreaking believable.
Where he turned around and ran backwards, then threw an absolute dot to the end.
That throw had me get off the couch, and that wasn't even either one of my teams playing. That was
the Caleb Williams that I knew at USC. Okay.
That's who they drafted.
And let's be fair. Let's be fair. The interception in overtime, I don't put on Caleb Williams. I wonder why DJ Moore stopped running his route.
He didn't try.
Yeah, if you look at that film over and over again, that looks more like DJ Moore. We've seen receivers look. How about my guy in Pittsburgh does that on a regular basis? Metcalf. He just does that on. So does AJ Brown. I mean, I don't know what it is about receivers. They just feel like they can just quit on a damn play at any time.
Yeah.
No, that play that could have been a catch had there been a little bit more effort on that. But look, give the Rams a slight little break there, they're gonna beat you.
Yeah,
I mean, look,
Bears fans are obviously going to be disappointed. I mean, but they're also going to take away that this was an unbelievable season in the first year of Ben Johnson. Jacob has Mike Vrabel as his coach of the year. I don't disagree, but I have Ben Johnson as my coach of the year. To take the Bears and do what they did to win that division with the Packers and the Lions and teams like that, like it was just unbelievable. And they have it set up for the future. They obviously need just to add some more pieces, but I think like you said, Caleb proved why he was pick number 1 overall. Does he got to take care of the ball a little more? Absolutely. But he makes some incredible throws that just have you go, how the hell did he make that throw? And it was an unbelievable game. And that's why, Jacob, I say the weather thing for New England and Houston is an excuse, because Stafford and Caleb were out here slinging it in negative degree temperatures. So
yeah. That is the only thing that I could even accept as a deterrent to what I said about the weather in the Houston New England game, because the weather was not good in the Rams Chicago game whatsoever. Do I think it was as bad? Probably not. But that's a marginal difference at best, right? Like it was bad for both games, and bad to a degree where neither were hospitable to good football whatsoever. And the Rams Bears did play much, much, much better in it.
okay, guys.
I think we all would have agreed, though, Gene, that and I know we're speaking on this game because this next game we're going to talk about was just boring. Talk about boring. But real quick, what I will say is if we all had Seattle and the Rams in the NFC Championship, I don't think that was really a surprise to a lot of teams. What is a surprise and give credit for, like you said, Gene, is the fact that the Rams we didn't think that was going to happen, that they have to go on the road every week to get a win. And now you set up the Rams-Seahawks matchup 1-1 round 3. I mean, I think this is going to be a heavyweight bout on Sunday.
Yeah, it is, guys. And look, I want to talk about these Seahawks. I didn't find this game boring at all because, first of all,
I turned it off after the
I have been on Sam Darnold's bandwagon since the day I interviewed him when he got drafted.
He didn't have to do anything.
Right. But give it up to coaching. Give it up to coaching. Give it up to coaching to where, Sam, guess what? This is not going to be what happened in Minnesota, in your playoff game. Give it up to coaching. Coaching says, hey, we have somebody by the name of Kenneth Walker who's going to make your day so damn easy. What is he going to do, Coach? Oh, he's going to get 19 rushes for 116 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, I mean, look, man, that's what you need. That's going to give Sam Darnold the confidence that he needs to probably get to his first Super Bowl. I mean, we'll see. We'll find out here when we pick this. But, man, 41-6, I mean, it just – things what is it, Cinderella, that story, the slipper, whatever, just I mean things just the 49ers just ran out, man. I mean it was not meant for them to be in the NFC Championship game.
Jacob, I'm going to do something I don't do often. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to toot your own horn about how you said Shaheed would be the biggest pickup at the trade deadline. Are you ready?
My man, I texted it.
Go ahead and take it away. Take it away.
Time starts now. Rashid Shaheed, if you go back, I know y'all guys didn't pull the clip like I asked for, but if you go back in our shows, I said Rashid Shaheed was the most impactful trade at the deadline. Everybody disagreed. Jacob's just a big old silly goose. Well, guess what? Rashid Shaheed is the reason Seattle is in the position that they are in now. And Rashid Shaheed opened that game against the 49ers with a kick return touchdown. And I will say this, the 49ers were so beat to piss, right? They shouldn't have been in that position to begin with. It is a testament to how good of a coach Kyle Shanahan is, how good of a DC Bob Salah is. The Niners were not ready, but Rashid Shaheed is a dog and has absolutely given the Seattle Seahawks a weapon they have not had since Percy Harvin. It was a flashback to the past. I'm a big Percy Harvin fan. That jersey will eventually be on the wall behind me. Rashid Shaheed, most impactful trade at the deadline.
I will say that game was over. That game was over after the kickoff return for a touchdown.
It was. It really was.
One thing I will say, and I'll pass it back to Eugene, is I'll give Sam Darnold credit. He took care of the ball. He didn't have to do a lot because he had a run game. He had a defense. But I said it when Seattle came to town against the Panthers, and I watched that game in person. Seattle's defense is, you talk about Houston, Seattle's defense is right up there with them. They do not miss tackles. They swarm to the football. And it's, like I said, it's going to make for an unbelievable matchup against a high-powered Rams offense. But Seattle's defense, man, if Houston's 1, Seattle's 1A because that defense is just everywhere.
Led by
Uncle
Devin
G,
Witherspoon.
I agree with you. Sorry.
Yeah, led by Devin Witherspoon, guy we've been talking about since his rookie days. Okay,
Yeah,
I mean we saw
good.
this one coming, so
yeah,
yeah, that defense is good.
Leonard Williams. Yeah,
Rick
Really
Woolen,
good. So
at
guys,
all 3 levels. Sorry,
I tell you what, before we get into breaking down the AFC Championship game, and by the way, in case you have been off the planet and don't know what the hell's going on this weekend, let me remind you, Championship Sunday. All right, this is what we got here, and guys, this is going to be a good one. We got the Denver Broncos hosting the New England Patriots for the AFC title. That game is going to be first, and then the nightcap is going to be the Seahawks hosting the Rams. These two teams have played. This will be the third time playing this year. But we're going to talk about something real quick here. We're going to kind of get into this coaching carousel because, good Lord, let me get you up to date on exactly what's going on with the NFL coaching vacancies and the ones that's been filled. So New York Giants have hired John Harbaugh. The Atlanta Falcons have hired Kevin Stefanski. Miami Dolphins hiring Jeff Haley. I think that's been done. Tennessee Titans have hired Robert Saleh. You know, I really like Robert Saleh. And the Baltimore Ravens have hired Jesse Minter. Can we start with Minter, guys? Because I think that's the one that kind of like stands out there. I don't know. I mean, that was a quick hire for the Ravens for me. I would think that replacing a guy that's been there 18 years, just like the Steelers are replacing the guy that was there for 19 years. They made that move fairly quick, didn't they?
yeah. I'm not sure. It goes back to the Buffalo situation. I don't know how to say it. Like, I feel like I'm on the fence, but I'm not. Like, Tomlin and Harbaugh, they've been there for so long that there had to be a change of scenery. But I would not want to be that next guy walking through the door,
Hell
especially if I'm not an experienced head coach and had experience in the past. So now the fact that you get rid of Harbaugh because he can't get to the Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson, and you bring in a coordinator who's a good coordinator but doesn't have any head coaching experience. Is that if you're trying to get, like, same with the Bills, if you're trying to get over the hump, the expectation is Super Bowl. It's not make the playoffs. And you bring in a guy with no head coaching experience off of a Super Bowl coach, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
So there is an asterisk next to Jesse Minter. So in his specific situation, he was on Harbaugh's staff in Baltimore. He was part of the Harbaugh family. His family is very, very close to Harbaugh. I get what you're about to say. I get what you said.
What am I going to say?
He doesn't have the experience. It doesn't matter who you're friends with.
That's not what I'm going to say. If he's coming from the Harbaugh family, is that not what you were just trying to get away from? If you're going to the Harbaugh family, why not stick with Harbaugh?
So the one thing that I think that makes him palatable, this is why I think Baltimore made the decision. What made Baltimore so beatable this year, Dustin?
Well, their defense wasn't great, and they hired a defensive guy. I'll give you that. But
that's it, right? He came from the Harbaugh tree. He understands how Harbaugh ran things, and he knows the Baltimore family. He's been there, right? However, what he brings is a defensive expertise. Baltimore's defense, awful, right? They had some bright spots in the season, but awful. And so I think Jesse Minter was a good hire to a point, right? Because none of us know what he's going to do as a head coach. Brian Daboll, great offensive coordinator, terrible head coach, right? He could be better in his second stint, but coming right off the jump, his first head coaching trip, not good, right? So that could absolutely happen again. But I do think that Jesse Minter was a good hire because he brings a similar mindset. He understands how to be a leader to these players, but he understands how to orchestrate a defense. Zach Orr's taken interviews elsewhere. I don't think he comes back. And I think Jesse Minter will just bring a defensive edge with him that Harbaugh could not produce. So it's Harbaugh with a defensive mind, which probably would have made Baltimore better these last couple of years.
Okay. Gene, who would you rather have coach the Pittsburgh Steelers, Jesse Minter or John Harbaugh?
I would probably go with John Harbaugh. I mean, that's a simple one. But, okay, let me talk about the other teams and where they stand. Right now, we have the Cleveland Browns, who have yet to hire a coach. We have the Las Vegas Raiders, who have yet to hire a coach. We have the Arizona Cardinals, who fired Jonathan Gannon. They have yet to hire a coach. Pittsburgh Steelers have yet to hire a coach. But the Buffalo Bills, guys, this is where I'm going here. They are interviewing, or maybe have interviewed by now, 8-time Pro Bowl quarterback Philip Rivers for their head coaching job. Now, we have seen crazier things in the past, like the Indianapolis Colts giving Jeff Saturday a chance to just jump in there
right off the TV set.
Right off the TV set. And hey, wait a minute now, and won a damn game because me and downtown Wayne Brown, we were in Las Vegas when the Indianapolis Colts, Jeff Saturday goes in there and win, his first game. But Philip Rivers is interviewing to replace Sean McDermott, guys. Jacob,
it could be cool.
Your thoughts?
It could be cool. Do I think it'll happen? No. Do I think it'd be successful if it did happen? Also, probably no. But Phil Rivers has a beautiful mind, right? That dude. No, there are few people on this planet that I would say understand the game at a level that Phil Rivers does. I think a lot of if you looked me dead in the eye and you told me that Peyton Manning could not go coach a football team, whether it be professional or not, and in this case it's a professional team, I'd laugh in your face. I think that most of these quarterbacks that are very cerebral and really understand the ins and outs of the game, yeah, they could absolutely coach. It comes down to their ability to handle the things that aren't the on-field product that gets called into question, right? Just like Jeff Saturday. That dude had no idea what he was doing. Do I think that he was able to come in and talk X's and O's and theoretically put his team in a position to win? Absolutely. Do I think that he was able to orchestrate that in a way that actually made a difference? Hell no. I don't think he knows how to be a coach. But Phil Rivers, it doesn't matter what level he's coached before. He has coached, and he's been incredibly successful as a coach of children, asterisk. But I think Phil Rivers has an understanding of the game that goes well beyond most, and I think he could do it. I really think it would be funny if he got hired just so I could watch ESPN every day and watch Cam Newton punch air. But it's one of those things where of all the people that you could pull off the street, all of the people, Phil Rivers is one who probably does understand both offense and defense well enough to be a head coach and is a relatable guy, again, to a point. But I think he could be successful.
But before I respond, I think one thing we forgot to throw in there, which is pretty wild, is that Josh Allen is sitting in on all of these coaches' interviews. Now, I don't know how y'all feel about that. He's a franchise player, obviously. He's their franchise pretty much. He's one of the best. We've said it numerous times on the show, top quarterback in the league. But it's always weird, Gene, we talk about this in the NBA with LeBron, whoever it may be, all these top names. Just because you're a top dog, does that mean that you should be in the coaching interviews handling this stuff?
No, it doesn't.
So it's an interesting question. Now I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna go out on a limb here.
Rivers is there to save the GM's job.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to say this right now.
That's why he's there.
If all the names are out there that are in the pool, Mike McDaniel, Brian Daboll, whoever else you want to name, all of these coordinators in the NFL, these recycled head coaches, Philip Rivers. If I'm the Buffalo Bills, out of all those names, I'm hiring Philip Rivers. Jacob just said it a little while ago. If you're going to move on from a guy like Sean McDermott, you have to think outside the box.
Yep.
I know Dayball's got a relationship with Josh Allen. Well, guess what? Philip Rivers and Josh Allen are very, very, very close. I don't know if people know that. They are. So if you're going to move on from a guy who's had you consistently in the AFC Championship game the last 7 or 8 years, you can't just go with the ordinary, let me bring up a coordinator, this, that, and the third. When you're, again, like I said, for the Ravens, you're trying to get to the Super Bowl. You're not trying to just make the playoffs every year. This is a different level of expectations. Does Philip Rivers have NFL head coaching experience? He absolutely does not. But the one thing that guy can do is he is a damn leader. And you saw that when he came back to play for the Colts this year. These guys balled in to play for him. They played hard for him. Now, he will have, like Jacob just said, he will have to build a staff around him that helps him with the ins and outs of how to coach every day and run an offensive unit, a defensive unit, special teams. But the Bills can't sit back and just go with a regular old hire. Let me bring up the DC from this team that nobody knows about. You got to go outside the box to try to keep this thing going with Josh Allen. And I think out of all of those names, unless Tomlin says, "Hey, I'm coming back to coach this year,"
No, he's not
I
coming
would
back.
take a chance with Rivers.
Well, look,
I like
we're starting to see, and this reminds me of the NBA. You know, we used to kind of frown on point guards who step away from the NBA game and immediately go into, I think Jason Kidd sort of fell into this situation. Even JJ Redick fell into this situation. So what you basically are doing is hiring a subject matter expert.
Yeah.
And if you want to think about a subject matter expert, then Phillip Rivers would fit that. You know, would fit
Yeah.
that. And if he has a good relationship with Josh Allen, then I can see that. I mean, you know, if he's sitting in there, if he goes to that GM and says, "Hey, this is the guy I
Yeah.
want. I want to learn
Yeah.
from him," that's going to happen. It happened with Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd, you know, I didn't think Jason Kidd was ready to take on a NBA job.
Yeah.
Same thing with JJ Redick. You know, I didn't feel that he was ready, but look
Yeah.
at the results. So
Yeah.
you might start seeing this trend in the NFL, and this would be the first time that it happened.
And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, Gene, you were skeptical about JJ Redick, and to be fair, he's been one of the better coaches in the league the last couple of years. And Jeff Saturday, it didn't work. And
No, it didn't work.
people are gonna say, you know, well, he hasn't had any coaching experience. How can he just go to the top without being a coordinator, being this and that? And I get that. Some of these guys, these coordinators have worked all their life and worked their way up through the ranks. But when it comes to, like Jacob just said, some of these, and you said it, Gene, subject matter experts, this guy's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Like, let's
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
act like because he hasn't coached that he doesn't know the game of football. Like,
And
he's
it's a quarterback.
got credentials. So
It's-
I
yeah.
don't think it's outside. I mean, it is outside of the box, but I don't think it's. I think it's worth a chance.
Well, it's the quarterback position, and the quarterback in Buffalo is the top dog here. So
Yeah.
it's just like in the quarterback sees things. They see the field, just like a point guard. They see the court. So I see these guys can make good coaches because they see things that other people don't see. So, all right, guys, we are going to get down to business here. Okay.
Yeah.
Because this is what we're looking at here. All right. And I'm gonna have to move these comments out the way, guys. We're not forgetting about you guys out there. I just need to make sure everybody can see what we got here. We got 4 teams. We got 2 spots for Super Bowl 60. All right. The final battle for a place in Super Bowl 60 is here. Now, I don't know. I got this graphic from NFL.com, okay? So I didn't want to get in trouble. So the fact that we talk about NFL, NFL.com is okay with this. That's Drake May. That looks like Kenneth Walker, right?
Walker.
That looks like Cortland Sutton.
That is.
And that looks like Matthew Stafford. Okay.
Yes. Sorry, Sam.
Look here for all you people that think the NFL is scripted, which I'm not gonna go there, but you know, if these 4 guys, you know,
why they have to do Sam like that though? Like, I get putting Cortland Sutton on there because you got a backup quarterback going, but we couldn't get Sam the graphic. Come on, Sam's at least earned that.
Well, Kenneth Walker just showed up last week. Now he's been there.
True.
Okay. And you're gonna see a lot of Kenneth Walker because guess who's not gonna be playing is Charbonnet.
Yeah.
So that's gonna hurt Seattle in a sense. But look here, guys. Let's just get down with this here. We need to
let's do it.
We need to go ahead and break this down here. All right. We got the first game. First game here is gonna be Sunday,
2.
3 p.m. All right, Eastern time at Empower Field in Mile High. Look, I like how the Broncos. If anyone hasn't caught on to what the Broncos do for the first 5 minutes of big games, how they don't do the huddle because they trying to make sure that the defense cannot breathe. I think, look, I think we're gonna see that again, right? I think that's gonna happen. But look, man, we got the New England Patriots, 16-3 overall here, the number 2 seed versus the number 1 seed. It's good to get a number 2 and the number 1 seed here. The only big difference here is that Drake May will be the starting quarterback. Bo Nix will not be the starting quarterback. But the Denver Broncos are hosting this game at home, and we have a coach by the name of um, Sean Payton, who has been there, and he's trying to be what is it? Would it be the first coach to to win a Super Bowl with two different teams? I mean, he's got to get there first, right, Dustin? I think that's right. Can you help me out on that one?
I'd have to look it up. I'm not 100% sure. I don't keep up with Sean Payton's stats because I can't stand Sean Payton. He is a good football coach. But you talk. Well, I'm gonna actually look that up to double check here.
All right, guys. So let me just quickly kind of talk about how these teams got here. I mean, I think you kind of know the storyline here.
No NFL head coach has won a Super Bowl with two different teams.
Well, there we go.
Really?
Well, there we go. No.
There have been coaches like Bill Parcells, Mike Holmgren, and Andy Reid who have coached multiple teams to the Super Bowl, but none have won it with two different organizations.
I didn't think so. I just didn't. And normally, I know better saying that before. But I think I kind of knew that. I've been around for a little bit.
You have, Gene. Good call.
All right. So look, Patriots. Defeated the Chargers 16-3 in that wild card game. Then they went on to beat the Texans 28-16 in the divisional playoffs. So look, this is how they got here. New England has appeared in 11 Super Bowls where they are 6-5, the most in NFL history. The Broncos defeated the Buffalo Bills 33-30 in overtime in that divisional game. And Denver has 8 Super Bowl appearances. All right, 3-5, tied for the second most on all teams. So look, this is a big game, guys. We know the situation. We know that Jared Stidham is not going to be playing. So look, because Jacob, you have struggled all year long with the Denver Broncos. We got to let you go first.
Oh man. All right. Well, I'm going to start this by stating that when we were going into the wild card round, New England was actually my pick to make it to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Before the playoffs began, I picked New England. I've got it written down. I've been using the same sheets of paper with my notes on it since wild card. So I will say that is where I have stood for a while now. With that being said, I think Stiddy City is absolutely terrifying. I think that Denver, their entire offense being a question mark coming into the most important game of the season thus far, I think that is terrifying. Drake May did not look good last week. That New England offense did not look good last week. And I personally, Jacob Meadows, blame the weather. However, New England does play in that weather. They were at home. They were at Gillette, right? So New England should have looked better. There was really no excuse for them to not look better than they did against Houston, as outside of the fact that Houston's defense is good. Well, guess what? Denver's defense is also very good. If you have Seattle as 1A to Houston, Denver is 1B. And the one thing that sets Denver's defense apart is that they are not 1A. They are not 1B. They are 1 in quarterback pressure rate. So if Drake May is pissing down his leg all game, is he going to be able to win? Now, I think Hunter Henry is going to have a good game if New England is successful. I think the tight ends over the middle are their best bet for success. I do think that, you have Diggs. Diggs probably will have a good game, but Diggs is going to be shadowed by one of the best corners in the game right now in Surtain. I think that Surtain shadows him most of the game. Then who do you have? Pop Douglas? Who cares? Right?
Booty.
Who?
Booty.
Yeah. Booty, and he's been really good. Sure. Yeah. But if Drake May can't throw a ball that gets within, 5 feet proximity of his receivers, but one every, 5-6 passes because Alex Singleton's coming off the edge or, whatever name you want to put in there. It's hard to believe in New England. Now, the one thing that still steers me towards New England is their run game. Ramondre Stevenson is very good. Travion Henderson is Henderson's playing, right? He's not hurt. For whatever reason, I feel like he's not. Okay, so You have Travion Henderson. You have Ramondre Stevenson, both playing. New England has the better run game. However, Gene, put the upset graphic on the screen if we're doing those.
Oh,
today.
is that what we're
Damn.
doing?
Oh,
we
we do.
We
That?
don't have any graphics, but
Oh,
I
no,
tell you
we-
what,
we-
though.
no,
don't
we're
worry about it, Dan.
No,
but we can sound the alarm.
No, hold on. Here, it's right here, Gene. Put it up there. We're
Oh,
gonna get it
okay.
up
I
there.
mean,
Go
I
ahead.
didn't know we was going there.
I got it on standby.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Well, let's do it. Let's get it right then.
Took a long damn time to get there, Jacob.
All right, Jacob.
I like to be long-winded so that people have they're drawn in. I'm a man of the people. Give
they
me
can forget what you
Steady
said.
City, baby, to win this game. I think that Jarrett Stidham is going to come in and play lights out. He's going to get absolutely punched in the mouth in the Super Bowl if this comes to fruition. However, give me Jarrett Stidham to lead the Denver Broncos over the New England Patriots that I have thought were going to go to the Super Bowl since the playoffs began. And before that, because I think that having somebody come in and think less and do more than Bojangles Nixon has, because I think that Bojangles has taken a more cerebral approach and it has slowed his what he's doing on the field. He's not throwing the bombs that he was in his first year. And why is he doing that? Because he doesn't want to make as many mistakes, because that's what Sean Payton has commanded. Steady City's going to come in and absolutely sling it. New England does not have a pass rush to stop him. Give me the Denver Broncos.
All right. Dustin.
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you what I just heard there. It was a bunch of garbage. I just got to be honest.
That was an Academy Award.
It was. Let me throw some numbers out there, and I'm going to use some of Jacob's arguments against him. Jacob, didn't you say that the Bills' defense was awful?
I did.
Okay, so I'm looking at Denver's rushing attack last week against an awful Buffalo Bills defense. Can you guys tell me who the lead rusher was for the Denver Broncos last week?
Bojangles?
That would be Bo Nix. Their quarterback was the lead rusher. They had McLaughlin for 21 yards and Harvey for 20 yards.
I said New England had the better run game.
When you bring in a backup quarterback who is not a young backup quarterback, he's been in New England, he's been in Las Vegas, and now he's here. And I just said Las Vegas, and he couldn't even win a starting job in Las Vegas. What's that tell you? If you bring in a backup quarterback with no run game, that is a recipe for disaster. And I know Denver's defense is great, and you're right, Jacob. They probably will keep them in this game at home because of that pressure from the defensive line. But are we forgetting that New England has a pretty damn good defense themselves? They did just make C.J. Stroud look like the worst quarterback in the league last week and caused 4 or 5 turnovers. Say what you want about the weather. They caused the turnovers, and they made the plays. So let's not forget about that. So does Drake may need to play better? He absolutely needs to play better. He's a young quarterback, and I actually think he will. I think he will rise to the occasion. I think he'll spread the ball around. I think they'll rely on those running backs, like you said, Jacob. It's a recipe for disaster for Denver to bring in a backup quarterback who has barely played. Gene said he started 4 games with 0 run game. We've said it all year, Jacob. You said it. Denver has 0 run game. If they had a run game with that defense and with Bo Nix, they were already the 1 seed, but they probably would have been the clear dominant favorite to win the Super Bowl. So I just think it's a recipe for disaster, and I'm taking the New England Patriots to get a win. I think Vrabel is going to be up for the challenge coaching-wise, and I think he's a defensive-minded guy. He's going to know how to scheme Jarrett Stidham. So give me the New England Patriots to win and get back to the Super Bowl.
Gene, before you go, hold on 1 second. If C.J. Stroud had Sean Payton whispering in his ear, I think Houston wins. And that is not to take away from the fact that New England did not beat C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud beat C.J. Stroud. I do think that this is
so New England had nothing to do with it.
Nope, I don't think New England had anything to do with it.
Wow.
I think New England rolled over and died, and Houston didn't want to win. This.
Hey, look. I tell you what. Early in the week, and as you know, the news of Bo Nix and then getting into the Jarrett Stidham thing, you know, I said, I don't know. I'm not really gonna fall for this. I think that defense is of the Broncos, you know, led by Nick Bonito and Zach Allen and Surtain and Riley Moss. I thought they would actually, you know, be enough. But I tell you what, I changed my mind midweek here and looking at the fact that, look, I don't want to see the New England Patriots go to another Super Bowl, okay? But we're not talking about the past. We're talking about the future. We're talking about the now. We're talking about how quickly Mike Vrabel has turned this team around. And, do I think Drake May is going to pass for another 179 yards? Uh, I mean, maybe so. But look, I agree with Dustin
We're
on this
forgetting he's
defense.
an MVP finalist.
Yeah, that
He's
too.
the runner-up.
I mean, it's what he's done all year. And I think one bad game last week, he did have a crappy game. Trust me. He had a really crappy game last week. But look, you have Milton Williams, who had 2 sacks in 2 of his past
incredible
playoff
comeback
games.
from injury.
You got Clavion, was it Chasen?
Yep.
So you got some guys. You got Robert Spillane, who used to play with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's been showing out lately. Christian Gonzalez. This defense is starting to Marcus Jones, the Carlton Davis,
Harold Landry, keep
here.
going. Yeah.
Craig Woodson.
Yeah.
Look, man, this defense, Mike Vrabel is going to have this team ready to go. I'm going to take the New England Patriots to beat the Denver Broncos and get to Super Bowl.
The only thing I would say, Jacob, is if Jarrett Stidham was more like a mobile guy, kind of like Bo Nix is, where he could use his legs, I would feel a little better about him coming in and running this offense. But again, no run game, and he's a statue back there. I don't know if you know, he's a statue back there. I think it's going to be a problem.
So for the record, right, I am not picking the Broncos because I think they are inherently just, Jarrett Stidham's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I think that the question mark behind Jarrett Stidham, the fact that it's an unknown what he's going to be able to come in and do after sitting under Sean Payton like he has, under sitting behind Bo Jangles like he has, I think that's what does it. It's the same recipe for when you have a quarterback get hurt, right? And they have anybody behind them. When a quarterback gets hurt, that next game, there is no film on this quarterback. That quarterback can come in and just light that team up and then suck for the rest of the season, right? Not look like it's magic anymore. That first game they start, though, incredible. And I think that is the only reason I'm riding with Stiddy City, right? It's because it is a true unknown. I do not care that Braves is a great coach. I've been riding Braves' dick all year, right? Like I hate the Patriots, but I have been on Braves' team this entire season. It is exclusively because Jarrett Stidham is such an unknown that I think that the shock and awe from him coming in, unless New England just comes out and punches him in the throat, I think Jarrett Stidham's going to make a much larger impact than what people think.
Last thing real quick, Gene, just to get the gambling out there. New England is a 4.5-point favorite on the road because of the backup quarterback playing for Denver. The over-under is 42.5, so they do have it as a defensive battle. And to show how great these teams are, the Broncos are 8-1 at home. We know how much of a juggernaut they're at home. I didn't know this until I just looked at it, guys. The Patriots are 8-0 on the road this year. 8-0.
Yeah. The line also started at 5.5, and typically,
Jacob must have put some money on, and the line came down.
He must have put some. Okay, downtown Wayne Brown says recipe for a bad AFC Championship. Unfortunately, someone has to win.
Who wins, Wayne Brown? Let me know.
I tried to get Wayne on. We're having some technical issues, but Wayne, I'm glad you're still sticking in there. So, all right, guys, we got to move on to the next game here.
I hope that Denver doesn't win, so Jacob doesn't come on here next week and say,
well, if Jacob, you're right,
times.
Jacob, you will start off the show. You get to host the damn
show. We'll take ourselves off the screen and let you just go.
Yeah, we'll just let you go, man. You can just say how right you were and how we were wrong. Okay, you got to get that.
I will too.
All right, so let's move on here. This is the NFC Championship game, and just like I told you how the other teams got there, let's tell you how the Rams and the Seahawks got here. All right, the Rams defeated Carolina 34-31. Sorry, Dustin, on a wild card weekend and earned a 2017 overtime win at Chicago in the divisional playoffs. So the Rams have 5 Super Bowl appearances. They're 2-3, most recently winning. What Super Bowl was that, guys? Was that 54 or something like that? Following the 20,
something like that.
56 maybe.
We're getting up there in the numbers.
21 season. I know these Roman numbers always okay. So Seattle defeated San Francisco 41-6 in the divisional playoffs for its first postseason win since that 2019 wild card win long time ago. But anyway, Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold. I mean, he's getting it done. He's got his team one game away from getting to a Super Bowl. The Rams are 2-0 against the Seahawks in the postseason. Both victories coming in the wild card long time ago, 2020 and 20 in 2004. All right. I'm going to go with this one first. Okay. Look, this is what we got. I am not going against Sam Darnold, even though I picked the Rams to go to the Super Bowl. Okay. I mean, look, I wasn't impressed with how the Rams looked against Chicago. Had the Bills not lost, I really probably, would have been that momentum would have been carrying me forward to pick the Rams. But look, man, I am not going to go against Sam Darnold. I think the Seahawks, I think the 12th man will get it done. And I mean, come on, man. These guys, look, last week a complete game. Kenneth Walker's going to have to take on a whole lot more responsibility this week since there's no Zach Charbonnet. But we did see a lot from JSN, which I think, come on, you think JSN is going to keep it quiet for 2 games in a row? I don't think so. That defense we talked about, Witherspoon, Leonard Williams. Hello, Leonard Williams, okay. DeMarcus Lawrence, Drake Thomas, Ernest Jones. Really? This is the Rams. It stops. Seattle's going to win this game.
Jacob, go ahead, because I've already got your pick wrote down. So,
yeah, that tracks. You're probably right too.
I know I am.
It's closer than what you think for who I'm going to go with. So, one of the things that I'm going to point out for this one is the people. So a lot of it's what 80% of the public money right now is on the Seattle Seahawks.
They're favored by 2.5.
The bulk of the reasoning behind that is the Rams have been in close games. Seattle blew the Niners out. Now you look at this, Carolina is a damn good team. That defense is nasty, and they beat the Rams in the regular season. They understand the blueprint to beating the Rams. Rams win, right? Rams move on. Rams played a close game against the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears were a very good team this year. They have an electric quarterback. They have one of the most creative head coaches in the league right now. Chicago is a very good team. Seattle plays the San Francisco 49ers, who has, 4 people still starting that they started the year with, right? The whole team, it's an exaggeration, right? They have more than 4, it's like 6. But it's the 49ers have been decimated by injury, so much so that it's being investigated, right? That is a real thing happening right now. They are investigating the cause of the injuries because there are so many every year. So there's that. Now, I picked Seattle in both of the 2 regular season games to beat the Rams. I really like Seattle. I think Rashid Shaheed was the best trade at the trade deadline. Can't say that enough times because it's a very, very good thing that I pointed out weeks ago. But I think the Zach Charbonnet injury is going to impact the team more than people expect. Kenneth Walker, stud, very, very good. But what happens when there's nobody to spell him? What makes Kyron Williams for the Rams so good? Blake effing Corum. Kyron Williams has been more efficient this year than any other year. Why? Because of Blake effing Corum. You break it up, you keep them from wearing themselves out in the 1 quarter, 2 quarters, and all of a sudden you have a running back that looks so much better throughout the game over the course of time. I think that the Zach Charbonnet injury is going to be big because they use him a lot. They spell Kenneth Walker with him a lot. I know they just pulled somebody up. I can't name who he is, right? I'm not that good at this job. I don't know who's backing Kenneth Walker up, but I know he's not going to be as good as Zach Charbonnet. With that said, Matt Stafford has not looked great when pressured heavily. That is an objective fact. Matt Stafford does not have that lightning bolt in him anymore. The Detroit Matt Stafford has actually gotten too old to do that. So I will say that if Leonard Williams can get pressure like he did last week, if that Seattle defensive line can get to Matty Stafford like they were Brock Purdy last week, Seattle absolutely wins. My pick is Seattle. I am picking Seattle to win. It is very close. And quite frankly, if I weren't sticking to my guns here with Seattle and being consistent, honestly, I think it would not shock me if the Rams won. And it's just because it's the third matchup and that whole offense for the Rams is healthy. And Seattle hasn't played anybody in the playoffs. The Rams are battle tested here in the playoffs, but I am taking Seattle to win.
All right. Listen, I think that's the first time I didn't realize that Blake Corum's middle name was Effin. So I've learned something there. So that's so that's good. Listen, this is what I just said when Gene led into this game. This is the main event. Like the first game, we hope it's a good game, backup quarterback. This game at 6:30 at prime time is the main event on Sunday. This is going to be a slugfest. These two teams don't like each other. They're division rivals. They know each other. They know the ins and outs. They played 2 times already in 2 very close games and 2 very wildly different games. The first game was a lot of turnovers and low scoring. The second game started off, like a blowout and ended up being a wild and crazy finish. I think we do have to remember that before that big comeback, and you give Seattle credit because they came back, LA was dominating that game in Seattle for 3.5 quarters. They were up by like 17 with like 9 minutes to go. So you do got to give that. I hate to give Jacob more credit. I worry about Shaheed. Special teams has been a big issue for the Rams. They had a Panthers blocked a punt in that first playoff game. So I do worry about the special teams. That's going to be a big factor. But what Jacob said about being battle tested, I think this is going to be a 3-point game, a tie game in the fourth quarter. And I'm not hating on Sam Darnold. I know Gene is Sam Darnold's agent. I know that. And I give Sam Darnold all the credit in the world. But if you're telling me in a tie game in the fourth quarter of who I want to go win a game to go to the Super Bowl, I'm taking the MVP of the league, and I'm taking Matt Stafford. And again, that's how close I think it's going to be because I have so much respect for Seattle's defense. I think they're right up there on Houston's level. That's how good they are. So I do think it's going to be a slugfest. The Rams are going to have to earn everything they get. The Charbonnet injury is huge. So I'm going to say this over and over again. I think this is going to be a 20-20 game in the fourth quarter. And I'm going to take the MVP to make that one play to a Puka Nacua, a Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams. They have the weapons to do it, and I believe in Matt Stafford, so I'm going to take the Rams. I've had the Rams not since just before the playoffs.
Did I hear you say you're going to lock it?
Lock it in. Put it on the screen. That's fine.
Did I hear you say you're going to lock it?
Well, put the lock in the upset at the same time because they're underdogs.
They're underdogs.
So I'm taking the lock and the upset. Give me both sound effects. I'm doing it all.
Okay. All right.
I just think, again, I think this is going to be an unbelievable game. I don't want to miss 1 second of these games because these teams know each other in and out. I'm going to take Matt Stafford and the Rams to make a play late to get a win. And I was going to say, I've had the Rams since before the playoff bracket, and I've had the Rams since day 1 in preseason to win the Super Bowl, and I'm sticking with it. Go ahead,
I was waiting to get called on. Nobody called on me. It's fine. So with this, if I were gambling on this game, if it were legal in Texas, I bet on the Rams in this one. And I say that because these teams are almost spitting images of each other, right? Like you can't sleep on the Rams defense. Jared Verse and co are very, very, very good at football. The Seattle Seahawks, very, very, very good defense. What do the Rams have that the Seahawks don't besides a good backup running back? We already talked about Charbonnet being out and Blake Effin Corum being really good, which that is his government name, which is awesome for him. But it's Tay Adams, right? Who's the Seattle Seahawks wide receiver too? Cooper Kupp. Would you rather have Devontae Adams or Cooper Kupp? And that it should be a no-brainer. There might be people that say Cooper Kupp, but
I either
don't know football
right
or
Cooper Kupp's been mighty quiet here. I expect him to be a little bit more involved in this game.
He's been good in the playoffs.
Than what people expect. So look, let's get downtown Wayne Brown's pick here. He has Rams have not been playing good down the stretch, barely winning games. Seattle's on the road, defensive is flying around like the Legion of Boom 2.0. He's got Seattle beating. Oh wow, he's got Seattle beating the Rams 34-10. Hey,
he's got Seattle beating the Rams.
I mean, no, he's got the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Wayne, I just want you to see my
Wayne,
paper.
Did you go out? Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, he done already went far.
New England 27-17. You've
got
a worse game.
Okay, so Wayne's got not only is Wayne picking New England, Seattle to win this game, but he's also picking them to win the Super Bowl. Now he's mentioned Kubiak calling his last game as an OC, becoming head coach for the Raiders. All right, bringing All right, how about that? Okay, that I
If
hear
I'm
you,
I,
the
Wayne.
I
Bills, I'd
will
bring
say,
Kubiak
I
in.
will say that I think whoever wins this game
Wins the Super
will
Bowl.
be the
It's going to
slight
win the
favorite.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, for
Will
sure.
be the slight favorite in the Super Bowl going. I don't
Thank
want to
you.
give.
Now
I don't want
that
to
I
give the
will
picks away.
agree.
I want to give the picks away, but they will be favored going into the Super
I
Bowl.
would agree with that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Look. Even with just 2 games, we still somehow managed to squeeze an
Well, listen,
hour and
there's
20
there's
minutes.
coaching firings. There's all this going on. We got to talk about everything. I
Yeah,
mean,
this was a long show. Look, I want to thank everybody, especially downtown Wayne Brown. You was our special guest here, and
got to get him
for
on
folks
camera.
that
Hell yeah.
don't know downtown Wayne Brown, he is a member of the Sports Kings. Okay,
I think for the Super Bowl show that it's got to be, if we did an hour and 20 here, we at least got to probably do an hour and a half because we're going to recap games. We're going to talk about coaching carousel again. And I think we've got to have somewhere in that hour and a half multiple guests. So whether it's Brian DiArdo, downtown Wayne Brown,
yeah,
Denny
yeah,
Sharma, it's got to be a big show
yeah.
of all the
The
sports
Super
games.
Bowl show. Yeah, I agree with you. We're going to get that right here. But anyway, guys, I just want to remind you guys that 5 months ago, maybe 5.5 months ago, we started with 105 subscribers.
We did.
We are at 2,200. Okay. I think we probably started at, you know what? I think that kind of deserves a drum roll or some effect,
Yeah.
right? So, and look, we probably had about 4,000 or 5,000 views of our shows. Now, look, with the last 28 days, we have an average of 50,000 plus watching our shows here. So this is incredible stuff.
Yeah.
And we just want to thank everyone. Well, I definitely got to say, continue to like, comment, share, subscribe, tell everybody. We also do, look, the NBA show, we do that as well. Uncle G getting the test of
We're
that.
going to get Jacob on one of those too.
You should.
Yeah, we get Jacob on there. The NBA shows are fun too. But right now it's all about the NFL. And of course, we're definitely going to have a big draft show. Guys, I don't know. I'm feeling like flying to Pittsburgh for the draft in April.
fly
I
with
just
you.
don't know.
Listen,
That's where
this
it's
is
gonna
the
be.
first year in like 7 years that as a Panthers fan, I haven't even had time to look at the draft because we've been in the playoffs. So I gotta start turning my attention to some draft boards.
Yeah, we
And
do.
I just
We
want to say
do.
real quick, Gene, we said this last night on the NBA show, but having all these people in the comments during our live show just brings so much more energy. So I just appreciate all the support. It's unbelievable.
Hell yeah. Shout
Yeah,
out to you,
guys, we
Bobby.
definitely appreciate that. So
Uncle G.
And Uncle G,
Bobby and
Wayne
Bobby,
Brown,
Bobby's
everybody
been
for
our
the-
faithful guy. Uncle G's and downtown. We will get you on screen. We're gonna work out these technical difficulties. We will have
And
downtown
Bobby,
Wayne
when we
Brown
do our
on this
NFL award
guys.
show when we do our NFL award show after the season, Bobby, I don't want to give any spoilers away, but you definitely are the leading candidate for fan of the season. I mean there's just no doubt
1000%.
about that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. Enjoy the games this weekend. We'll see you back here next week for our Super Bowl show. Sports Kings, we are out of here.